Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today we are doing the last 25 questions of a Security Plus practice test. If you guys want to watch the first two parts, feel free to go to my channel and check out those videos. This intro today is dedicated to my dear sweet mother. I'm not sure if she knows how to subscribe to my YouTube channel, so mom, if you go to one of my videos and look at it, there's a subscribe button on the bottom left, on the bottom right there. You're just going to click on that subscribe button. And there you go. And if you're not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. All right, we are on question 76, so let's get into this. Which port range would a registered third-party application likely use? Okay, now I know that 1000 through 1024 are non-ephemeral ports. These ports are assigned to standardized services and protocols, so it's not going to be answer B. The answer A option is 1025 through 37843. Answer C is 49152 through 65535, which would basically be the last 6,000 ports or so. Answer D is 1024 through 49151. Now, because 1024 is in the non-ephemeral port range, I'm gonna eliminate answer D as a possibility. Number 76, it is option D, 1024 to 49151. Registered third-party applications would use the registered port range, which is 1024 to 49151. So this is something absolutely new to me, but this is why I do these practice tests, is to poke holes in my own knowledge and realize things I need to study. I'm going to record that I got this answer wrong. I'm going to record the answer and then look over this later to improve my chances of passing the Security Plus certification exam. Question 77, which of the following protocols, if disabled, makes a switch susceptible to loop problems? So RSTP, RDP, SOX5, or SCP. SCP stands for Secure Copy Protocol. That's not really an option here. SOX5, I've never heard of, so I don't think that's an option. RDP is Remote Desktop Protocol, which is also not related to loop problems. A loop problem would be if a workstation sent out a request or some type of network traffic and it was going in a circle around the network, it would clog up the network. And if you had enough of these requests generated, eventually your network would be unusable because the traffic would be fully saturated. So the protocol that prevents that is called Spanning Tree Protocol, which I know as STP, but here it says RSTP. So I'm pretty confident that A is the answer for this one, even though I don't know what R stands for. So 77, I'm going to guess A on that one. And let's see, 77 is A, RSTP. STP and RSTP, Rapid Spanning Tree Protocol, protect against switching loops. Basically, they make all the traffic on the network go one way, spanning tree. So it's like, I don't know how to explain it very well, but every switch has like a receiving end and a sending end so that it won't get looped, basically. All right, so 78. Mobile device security includes all of the following except storage segmentation, inventory control, redundancy control, and asset tracking. Mobile device security. Interesting. I want to say asset tracking because that sounds like something different, whereas these other three sound like they could be related to mobile device security. I'm going to guess D on this one. Let's see if that's correct. 78. 78, the answer is C, redundancy control. There are many mobile device security concepts, but redundancy control is best used in static environments. I'm not sure what they're talking about here, so definitely got that one wrong. On the first 50 questions of this test, I got an 80%, which is passing on the Security Plus. I did not think I was going to get that high of a percentage. These questions are grouped by subject in this test, so it makes sense that I would score well on one part and score really terribly on the other part. On the second round of 50 questions, videos 2 and 3, I have not been doing as well, so I am probably going to see a lower score there, but that doesn't bother me. It just tells me what I need to study to pass the actual exam. Question 79, when you open a web browser and navigate to your email client, you are using what type of cloud-based service? IaaS, Infrastructure as a Service, Software as a Service, Platform as a Service, or I don't actually know what that one stands for, X as a Service. I think X as a service is like anything as a service. Fill in the blank, right? But when you open a web browser and navigate to your email client, you're basically using a program, which is an email client, in your web browser. So it's as a service. It's provided over the cloud. So an example of this would be like Gmail. Gmail would be an email client that you open in your web browser. A subtle difference would be like if you were using Outlook in desktop mode, and it is B. Software as a service includes any service or application provided to users over a network, such as the internet. So that's why it would be different if you were using Outlook desktop application from your computer. It would not be being provided over the network. Question 80, which of the following is a key security control an organization loses with cloud computing? Availability, data validation, physical control, or patch management? I'm going to go with physical control here because if you're using cloud computing, your computing is being done in a remote location over and being transported back to you over the network. So the one thing you would lose is physical control because you don't have the device that's doing the computing in your physical possession. So you can't chain it up. You can't lock it behind doors. You have to rely on the third party that has the computer to do that. So 80, I'm going with C, and that is correct. 80 is C, physical control. 81, an organization with a limited budget would like to improve its fault tolerance and increase its data availability. Which of the following choices would best meet the organization's requirements? Failover cluster, UPS, incremental backups, or RAID? So I'm going to go with C for 81. And I was wrong. The answer is RAID. There is no explanation given. I will take that as a wrong answer. I wish they would give an explanation, but that's okay. 82, what would create a buffer between a private network and the internet? A, router, B, load balancer, C, DMZ, or D, VLAN? So a router would not create a buffer. It would just direct traffic. Load balancer would direct traffic between like multiple servers so that one wouldn't get overloaded over the other. A DMZ is demilitarized zone. That's typically two firewalls with a zone in the middle that is that has more access to the internet than devices behind the second firewall. So the first firewall would be like your edge firewall, and then you would have your DMZ where you could have like a honeypot or something, and then you have your second firewall, and then you have your more sensitive workstations and devices behind that second firewall. So I'm going to go with C. VLAN, there could also be a case for that. Not really. Actually, VLAN creates a buffer between local area networks. It's a virtual local area network, so it splits traffic on the inside of the network. It wouldn't have anything to do really with the internet. So C for 82, that is correct. 82 is C. DMZ, a demilitarized zone, is a buffer created with multiple firewalls as a layered security strategy between the internet to your private network. 83, three of the following are common servers you would expect to find configured in the DMZ. Which of the following is not? Okay, in the DMZ, so this is something we want to have more access to the internet, less so to our private network. File server, web server, mail server, or DNS server. Web server definitely makes sense because you're serving a web page to people that are on the internet. Mail server also makes sense because you need to send mail out and potentially need to have people access mail from when they're not. Well, no, that doesn't really matter there. DNS server also makes sense because you need to tell people what your domain name resolves to. File server, I think, would be the least likely to be in the DMZ. It's file server because you could have people VPN to your LAN to get the files, but you wouldn't really want to be serving files to people over the internet, not without a VPN. So 83, I'm going to go with A, and that is correct.
Wow.
84, a useful element of virtualization is being able to capture a point-in-time image of a system. What is this concept called? Screenshot, snapshot, suspended system, or disk image? I know just from working with virtual machines that it is snapshot. I highly encourage you guys to check out virtual machines if you never have. If you're on Windows, you have the option of Hyper-V. If you're on Mac or Linux, I believe you can use Oracle's VirtualBox. All of those tools are free. Well, Hyper-V requires Windows Pro edition, not a home edition, but Oracle Box is available on all platforms. It is free. I definitely encourage you guys to play around with virtual machines. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of cool things you can do with them, and they are used in a lot of work scenarios. Leave a comment down below if you'd like me to make a video about how to set up and play around with virtual machines for free in like a home lab scenario. 85. What networking device allows VPN connections to terminate at a single network point? Hypervisor, VLAN, Layer 3 switch, or VPN concentrator. A hypervisor is what a virtual machine runs on. A VLAN is, I already explained that. A Layer 3 switch is a switch that can route via IP addresses or via the network. So the D is the only one that makes sense. Also, it's asking about a VPN. It's the only one that has VPN in the answer. So I'm going with D for 85, and that is correct. VPN concentrator is the answer for 85. 86. In order to combat the amount of spam originating from inside your organization, what type of filtering can you do? Hybrid filtering, statistical content filtering, egress filtering, or reverse DNS filtering. Now, this is spam coming from inside your organization. So I'm not sure on this one. I would think egress filtering would be for mail leaving your organization. And that is correct. C is egress filtering, no explanation given. 87, which of the following is the weakest form of authentication? Something you know, something you are, something you have, or something you do. I'm going to go with A for this one, and the reason why is because something you know is very easy for someone else to know, or for them to guess, or for them to find out. This example is a traditional password. If your password is password123, it's very easy for someone to guess that. Something you are would be like your fingerprint or your iris. That's not easy for someone else to duplicate. Something you have would be like a security token that gives you a code. Someone could steal that from you, but it's more likely they'll guess your password than that they will find you and physically rob you of your security token. Something you do would be like a signature, or the way you type, or even the way you walk. There's different security authentication systems that can record and then test you on those. A for 87. Something you know, that is correct.
Yay!
88, Alice signs into her bank account with a password as well as a PIN she created. Which of the following best describes the type of authentication she is using? She is technically using dual-factor authentication. No, it's single-factor because a password and a PIN are both something you know. So it's two things, but they're both something you know, so it's really one factor, and that is correct. 88 is A. Single factor, two or more methods of the same authentication type is considered a single factor authentication. If it was like a password and her fingerprint, it would be dual factor, or if it was an iris scan and a security token, then it would be dual factor, but they're both things she knows. Which of the following does not provide authentication services for remote users and devices? Radius is the dial-in something service, so I believe that does provide authentication. Diameter, I'm not familiar with that. TACAX Plus, authentication header. Authentication for remote users and devices. I want to say diameter because it's the one that I'm not familiar with. Guessing B for 89. It is D, authentication header. Although authentication header provides authentication, it does so as part of IPsec with no attribution to end users. It authenticates IP packets. Number 90, the principle of least privilege can be best categorized as what type of control? Administrative, technical, compensating, or operational? Least privilege, I would think that would be technical because you're only giving people privilege to things that they absolutely need. I could see it being technical. I could see it being considered operational because it's how you're operating. I'm not sure if it would be considered administrative or not, but I'm going to go with operational. D for 90. It is technical. Least privilege is a technical control. It specifies that individuals or processes are granted only those rights and permissions needed to perform their assigned tasks or functions. 91. Which authentication protocol allows an end user's account information to be used by third-party services like Twitter without exposing the password? The options are Kerberos, Secure LDAP, OAuth, or CHAP. I believe the answer here is OAuth. I remember that's being something about, connecting, big services like Google and Facebook and things like that without exposing people's passwords. So I'm guessing C for 91, and that is correct. 91 is C, OAuth is the correct answer. 92, which of the following systems does not use rule-based management? IPS, switches, firewalls, or hubs? Now, I know, because I know what a hub is, that it simply repeats traffic to everybody, whatever it hears. It's like the town crier. Whatever it hears, it just yells it out to everybody. I know that firewalls and switches use rule-based management. I'm pretty sure IPS does, even though I've never had my hands on one of those. So I'm going to go with hubs, D for 92. And that is correct. Hubs is 92. 93. When implementing a password history policy, it is good practice to combine it with which of the following? A, password strength, B, minimum password age, C, account lockout thresholds, or D, password expiration policy. I would think password strength would be the best thing to combine with a password history policy, so I'm guessing A for 93. It is minimum password age. B, no explanation given. Password history policy, minimum password age. Yes, that makes sense, because if someone really wanted to use the same password, they could change their password, let's say 5 times, and then if your password history policy was you can't use the same password as you used 5 times ago, and there was no minimum password age, then they could just change it 5 times in 1 hour and use the same password over again. 94. Which of the following combinations of backup techniques will most effectively reduce the amount of time needed to perform backups? So when we talk about reducing the amount of time, incremental, it only backs up a portion of everything. Differential, I believe, backs up things that have changed. I haven't looked at the full definitions recently, but because of that reason, I think A is the best standard, like full incremental, because you want to have full backups and you also want to do incremental backups periodically. If you do a full backup every time, you're wasting a lot of time. If you only do incremental backups, you're not necessarily backing up everything you need to. But I think C sounds like it would be the best for time saving. So I'm going to guess C for 94. And it is A. So no explanation given. It looks like they're getting lazy here at the end of this test. But I already explained why A would be a better answer in terms of what practice you would actually want to follow in real life. 95. Which of the following is an example of a preventative technical control? CCTV, motion detection, active IDS, or encryption? So CCTV and motion detection and active IDS, I'm not sure if they're preventative, because preventative means it has to take effect basically before the intrusion has happened. If you have CCTV and someone is on your property, then you see them, they have already infiltrated your physical security. Now you're seeing them. That's more like reactive. Same thing with motion detection. Active IDS, same thing, but on a network level instead of a secure physical level. Encryption would preserve some confidentiality before people were able to infiltrate or look at your stuff. If you're sending, yeah. So I'm guessing D for this one. And 95 is D, encryption. 96. While walking into your office building, you notice someone behind you. Once both of you are in the building, the individual behind you notices the security guards and turns around and leaves. The person who followed you most likely did not have the proper form of identification to access the building, and instead of dealing with the guards, they left. In this scenario, what type of access control best describes the security guards? In this case, they are preventative physical. No, it is deterrent physical. I was wrong. That is a category. So in this case, the guards served as a deterrent physical control because the individual turned around before even trying to access the building or talk to the guards. If the individual would have talked to the guards and then been denied access because they didn't have the proper identification, it would have been a preventative physical control. So yeah, deterrent prevents any attempt at all. Preventative is like it prevents attempts that are made. 97. Change management defines the process and accounting structure for handling modifications and upgrades. Which of the following is one of the goals associated with change management? A. Provide documentation. B. Authorize data sharing. C. Schedule data backups. D. Handle privacy considerations. Providing documentation is definitely an important step in change management. D. Handle privacy considerations could also be a desired side effect of change management, but it's not really the goal of change management. Yeah, and then the other two are even weaker cases. So I'm guessing A for 97. And that is correct. A, 97, provide documentation. 98, what type of planning ensures that an organization can continue normal business operations even if key personnel unexpectedly leave or are unavailable? A, disaster recovery planning. B, business impact planning. C, business continuity planning. And D, succession planning. So the key phrase here is continue normal business operations. And the answer, I believe, is business continuity planning. It's practically the same phrasing. 98 is C, and it's D, succession planning. Very interesting. Oh, the key phrase here was even if key personnel unexpectedly leave. I missed that. Okay, so succession planning would have been the correct answer here because of that key phrase. If the question ended here after the word operations, it would definitely have been business continuity planning, but succession planning is in case of key personnel leaving, so that makes sense. 99, your organization is considering an alternate location as part of its business continuity plan. The organization wants to make sure the backup site has all the necessary hardware to run daily operations, but doesn't need to have up-to-date data because they plan on copying the data to the site if a disaster were to occur. What type of backup site would best fit this organization's needs? Okay, so our options are hot site, warm site, cold site, or backup site. Now, hot site, warm site, and cold site are all types of backup sites. So I don't think the answer is backup site. A hot site is up and running. It's ready to go. You can walk in there and sit down and start doing your job. That means all the data has to be up to date. So that's not the answer here. A warm site would be, you know, the building has power, the computers are loaded with operating systems, maybe that doesn't have all your data. Maybe the servers don't have all your data, but they're ready to go. A cold site would be like all the equipment's there, but you still need to set it up completely. Like it's not even started to be set up. So in this case, they're saying it has all the hardware, but doesn't have up-to-date data. So I would think that would be a warm site. Based on my explanation, now I want to say it was cold site, but I'm gonna go with my first thought, which was B, and not overthink it. 99, give me a B. It's B, warm site for 99. All right, guys, we've made it to the last question. If you watched the other videos, I really appreciate it. I hope you hit that like, hit that subscribe button. And here is question 100 of this Security Plus practice test. An organization has determined that a specific business system needs to be restored or repaired within 1 week of an outage. What benchmark would stipulate this in the maintenance contract? Options are mean time to repair, repair time objective, mean time between failures, or repair point objective. So mean time to repair is the average time it takes you to repair a certain type of like system. So let's say drive failures, how long does it take you to restore those drives on average? Mean time between failures, same example, how long between failures of the drive? Like what's the average time this drive survives? Return point objective is the point at which data loss becomes acceptable or unacceptable. To be honest, I'm not sure. This test said acceptable. Other places I've seen unacceptable. I believe the answer is B because it stands for repair time objective. So if they're giving you a time, 1 week, this needs to be repaired in 1 week. That is your objective. Therefore, RTO would be the benchmark that would stipulate that in the maintenance contract. So 100, I'm going with B, and it's A. Okay, interesting. Mean time to recover is the average time it takes to recover and restore a system which has failed. Yeah, it's the average time, but it's not your desired time. What do they say about RTO? Recovery time objective is the maximum acceptable time before the restoration of a system after an outage. So that seems like that's what they're asking to me. 15 questions wrong out of 25. That is a terrible score. But luckily, I have a lot of information here to look over, things to learn, things to look up and read up on. And I will be prepping for my Security Plus exam. I'm going to take it here in about 1 month. If you guys are also studying, let me know how it's going. Let me know if you pass, if you fail. Don't give up. You can definitely do it. Just keep trying. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.